Since August of 2022, gun violence in Charlottesville has spiked significantly, with more than 40 reports of shots fired by the University Police Department in Charlottesville. This includes the November 13th shooting at the University of Virginia, which resulted in the death of 3 students. We interviewed University Police Chief Timothy Longo to get a better perspective on the issue. Timothy Longo is currently the Associate Vice President for Safety and Security, as well as the Chief of Police for the University of Virginia Police Department. Longo oversees the UVA Police Department, the Department of Emergency Management, Clery Act Compliance, and the Office of Youth Protection, Threat Assessment, and Safety and Security Systems and Technology. UVA's community alerts are a way of keeping students connected with real-time events that might pose a risk to them. Yet the complexities regarding those reports are unfamiliar to many students. From active perpetrators to hazards, the alerts we receive are imperative to our safety. We wanted to explore the nature of UVA's community alerts to better understand how the Department of Security keeps us safe.
So it's important to know how these community alerts are structured. Federal law requires that institutions of higher education report out crimes that occur on their campus. Any crimes that involve an ongoing threat of violence. We made a conscious decision a few years ago to extend that. So when you receive alerts, you'll see community alert, and then sometimes it'll say on grounds and off grounds. When it says on grounds, we're required by law to tell you that information. Situations that occur off grounds, we're not required to tell you about. We've chosen to take that position. The reason we've done so is we know our students, many of our students live off grounds. They live in communities that are outside the territorial jurisdiction, if you will, of our university grounds. So if you live, for example, on Grady Avenue, you'll receive an alert when we have incidents that occur within that area that present an ongoing threat of violence or where a violent crime has just occurred that we want to bring to your attention. So those are the boundaries, if you will, and the events are really events that are focused on ongoing threats, particularly threats of violence. Oftentimes I'll get criticized, usually on Yik Yak and usually on real time, and yes, we monitor that. Not for that purpose, but because we know a lot of information is shared in that fashion. A lot of the complaints will be, well, you're not telling me anything. You're not giving me a description. You're not, well, largely because that's because I can't. And even if we're given a description from the scene, what we've learned in my profession, largely through social science, is that eyewitness identification is inherently flawed. Lots of times, eyewitnesses get it wrong. They get race wrong. Sometimes they get gender wrong. They'll get clothing descriptions mismatched, and they'll get vehicle descriptions wrong. Unless I can vet that information independently, I have a picture, I have a video, I have multiple people telling me the same thing, or the suspect is known to the person, and there's no question that the information is correct, then we'll provide it. Most often, that's not the case. So it's frustrating when you're the recipient of the information, but just know that I've made a conscious choice to tell you, not required by law to tell you. I've made the choice to tell you, not so you can go out and look for the suspect. That's not the purpose of it. It's to tell you something bad has just happened down the street, and you need to be aware of it and make decisions accordingly because of it.
There's been an increase in gun violence throughout the last few months. Has the radius for community alerts or what's been reported been increased in that time, or has it changed in any other way?
No, it hasn't been increased. We have to have boundaries for how much information we share and how far out. We decided to use the concurrent jurisdiction area as those boundaries because it's defined. That map is there, those boundaries are clear. It's the most objective way for me to be able to determine how and when to send those alerts. So what I would suggest to citizens, to community members, constituents, is pay attention to the city's social media account, because more often than not, my alert's going to be contemporaneous with theirs. And if you're outside of the concurrent jurisdiction area, if you pay attention to their alerts, you'll know what's happening in Belmont. You'll know what's happening in North Downtown.
For those outside of the university community, Charlottesville safety alerts can be found on the CPD Twitter and Facebook pages. Students can receive emergency alerts automatically through their email or sign up for them by texting UVA to 226-787. I'm Catie Ratliff, WUVA.